You have two things you first have to decide, because you have two jurisdictions that could potentially claim domicile. In the other jurisdictions, he didn't really reside, he only had temporary residence. So the likelihood that he would have any kind of, assuming they had an inheritance tax law in those other jurisdictions, because if you ask these two gentlemen over here in the UK and the US, that domicile may have different implications of taxation or not taxation of getting those assets into the trust.
So if he's a UK domiciled individual, the dead guy, worldwide assets subject to the UK inheritance tax, we can't just put stuff into trust. All the beneficiaries would have to agree through a deed of variation. With the undeclared income prior to death, we would have to sort that out. So we'd probably use the Liechtenstein disclosure facility to do that, where the penalties are mitigated. So there's a lot of work to do, but we could do it all in the UK, so we wouldn't actually need Robert then. So we start with the domicile of his father, so that would kick him off. And then whether during his lifetime he acquired a domicile of choice because of where he lived. It's difficult to change if you're already a UK domiciliary.
Right.
It's much easier to acquire a UK domicile than lose it.
Okay. David.
Well, in terms of domicile, if it's undecided, any U.S.-based assets are U.S. domiciled regardless of where the decedent is domiciled.
Right.
But in terms of him being a green card holder, potentially every single asset had U.S. source income. So the value of the assets could be 150 million on the screen, but maybe they're only 110 million after the income tax liability has reduced them. And that's a very complicated procedure because the green card makes them all U.S. reportable, but then there's foreign tax credits in various jurisdictions that would be applied against that. So
Sure.
we don't know the value of the assets yet that are subject to distribution.
Right. But if we
I believe you can prove with facts and circumstances that you are not domiciled, but it's definitely not in your favor to continue holding the green card when you're close to thinking about your estate. It's definitely wiser to give it up. It's definitely different from immigration purposes and tax purposes. So people not giving up their green card may not be under scrutiny allowed to really hold it under immigration laws, but for tax purposes, they are going to be considered U.S. residents if they don't have a formal either voluntary relinquishment or being taken away and actually approved with a seal of, you're not entitled to it.